I'm Kyle Sardinia, and you're watching Niagara Pro Tips. Today we're going to talk about Niagara Cloud Suite and device onboarding. Essentially, how do we get Niagara stations connected to the Niagara Cloud? We do this using the Cloud Connection Service. The Cloud Connection Service can be added to the Niagara Supervisor platform or Jace platform to enable your Niagara station to register with the Niagara Cloud Suite as a device in the Niagara Cloud Suite portal. I will show the process of adding the Cloud Connection Service to the station application that's hosted on a Jace platform and onboarding that device to a project that has already been set up in the Niagara Cloud Suite in the previous video in this series. We are going to talk through some of the requirements for using Cloud Connection Service and the prerequisite steps to ensure that you can connect your device to the Niagara Cloud Suite. Let's start by viewing some of the resources for our Tridium partners to utilize during the onboarding process. From the Tridium website, you can get directly to the Niagara Resource Center at docs.niagara-community.com. Here we can link to the documentation for all things Niagara Cloud Suite, including the minimum versions for Niagara's core software and their respective cloud service module files. The most obvious requirement, I would hope, for using the Niagara Cloud would be device internet access. If you have certain network restrictions or are utilizing things like the proxy service, you may need to work with your IT department to make sure that your device can reach specific URLs that are listed in this documentation. My device today, I have internet access directly through my router using the secondary Ethernet port on the Jace, and I have enabled DHCP in the platform's TCP/IP network settings. Knowing that I have internet access, now let's look at the various NCS subscription offerings that I can enable on my license. On the device's license, you can now purchase subscription software options. Currently, we have 3 offerings for Niagara Cloud Suite: Niagara Data Service, Niagara Recover, and Niagara Remote. You can purchase them individually, but they can be bundled with a software maintenance agreement from Tridium. An active SMA is required to use the Cloud Connection Service. I encourage you to reach out to your Tridium account representative to explore the various options for your device. In the Workbench client itself, I can check that I have the right features for my Niagara license on the device through my license manager. To utilize the Cloud Connection Service on a station, I need to make sure that I have a feature named Cloud Link enabled with a valid expiration date. Again, I will mention that an SMA is required. You can see in my license the maintenance expiration. I do have an active SMA. This SMA exempt feature key is just suggesting that I am not exempt from this policy. The software subscriptions that I have for Niagara Remote and Recover are saying it's applied to a Jace device, and the Niagara Data Service is indicating the tier of service that I am subscribed to, in this case, is Gold. So I know my device has internet connectivity, and I confirm my device is properly licensed. Now I want to make sure I have the proper software running. Let's look back at the documentation page for Niagara Cloud Suite. There is a link to a Niagara community article for the various offerings and features that we are continuing to add to the Niagara Cloud Suite, as well as their minimum version requirements. Now you need to make sure you have access to the modules, as they may not be included with your version of Niagara's installation. I am logged into Niagara Central, looking at the software portal, and just looking at the developer brand, you need to scroll down to the module section. I know I am running the current feature release build of Niagara 4.14 GA, build that was published at the end of July, so I need to make sure that I download those files. Once those files have downloaded, I will extract them and put them into my Workbench's module folder, so then I can copy them onto the Jace that I will be using. Here I have the extracted list of modules that are part of the Niagara Cloud Suite offering. I need to make sure that they are in the modules folder for the version of Niagara 4.14 Workbench that I'm running, so then I can put them on the Jace. Looking back into the Workbench application, I have made a platform connection to the JACE, and I will look at the software manager to make sure that I have the proper modules installed on the device compared to the latest that I have available on my Workbench. I installed the modules when I commissioned the JACE, so I will sort and search for those CloudLink modules to ensure that they are there. I can see the modules are all installed, so I am ready to add the Cloud Connection service to my application. So if we look, I have a station already running here. I'm going to make a station connection, and I can go into my configuration space. I can see in my services, I have a couple of different services here already. So how do we connect this station to the Niagara Cloud suite? In the Workbench, I'm going to open up a palette, and I'm going to open up the palette for CloudLink NCS. This palette already has the Cloud Connection service configured to handle generating a registration code and setting up the client-side configuration to successfully communicate with the Niagara Cloud suite. So we will drag this Cloud Connection service directly into my services container. Now, I can look under services and I can see that the Cloud Connection service has been added. Right now you can open up the service and see that there's not much in here, but if I expand transport, you can see that there's the HTTP transport and the channels has messaging available. But we're going to start in the authenticators with the Federated Identity Authenticator. The Federated Identity Authenticator is the authenticator for Niagara Cloud Suite and handles the station-side registration with the Federated Identity Service and provides that secure connection to the Niagara Cloud Suite identity provider. To get started, I'm going to come here. I'm going to right-click Actions and Start Registration Process. So if I expand, it'll generate this user registration URL. And I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste that into the web browser of my choice. So I have the registration code URL pasted into my web browser, and I'm going to get to niagara-cloud.com. It is going to prompt me for my credentials, which I will enter. And I am set up for two-factor authentication, so I will need to approve the login on my Salesforce Authenticator app. This registration code will take me to register my new device. I need to give the device a name. I must select the license ID itself in this prompt, and then choose a project that I'm going to add this device to, and then assign to a location as well. So I'm just going to hit done, and now the Cloud Connection service, it will start to add the Cloud Suite services that I have on my device's license. If I look back in Workbench, I can see that the registration state is now registered and the authentication is pending. And now we wait for the device to set up my channels, my additional transports, and another authenticator. Now the authentication state says authenticated. The RPK authenticator has now been added, as well as the AMQP transport. You can see there it went through the process of registering the RPK authenticator and setting the authentication state to authenticated. The RPK authenticator handles the device authentication for Niagara Data Services and provides the necessary tokens that the device needs to send data to the cloud. Also, because I am licensed for Niagara Remote, the remote transport was enabled and set there. Also, because I have the Niagara Recover service, the backup channel was added to this commands channel is added, the heartbeat channel is added, the history channel is added, the model channel is added to be able to take advantage of the entire Niagara Cloud suite. With that, my device has successfully been onboarded to the Niagara Cloud suite. I can see the upcoming alarm service has already been added to my portal as part of Niagara Data Services here. Niagara Data Service has a chart viewer here available for after we upload histories and enable the history channel. I can use the backup channel to enable Niagara Recover to store backups in the cloud, and Niagara Remote to set up remote access through Niagara Cloud Suite. So look for future videos on how to take advantage of all those services, and we will see you next time. Thanks.